Spain is a country that certainly produced many things, and bad cartoons just so happens to be one of them. So we're going to be taking a look at those bad cartoons today in the top 5 worst Spanish cartoons. Just know if you so happen to like any of these cartoons, that's great. I personally couldn't enjoy any of them, but it's good to know that other people could like the things I don't like. So take my opinion as you would. Anyway, let's get started. Number 5, Pocoyo. I know this cartoon claims it's for the 2 and unders. The only reason it falls into that category is because anyone a little bit older would be bored by this cartoon within 20 seconds. The cartoon, nothing happens in it. It follows the adventures of a boy who can't talk. The only reason they made that choice is probably because they're too cheap to hire any voice actors beyond just one. And that's for the narrator, who only occasionally says whatever the main characters are doing. And who are the characters, you ask? It's a boy who can't talk named Pocoyo, a duck, and a pink elephant. And now there's such a limited variety of characters. It's probably because these characters look more like they were very detailed Microsoft Paint images. This cartoon had an $85 million budget behind it. Not some of that money could go to making decent looking characters. There's all that money just spent on the narrator, because the narrator doesn't seem interested in telling the stories of what this kid is doing.
Umbrellas keep you dry.
That's probably where all the money went. Number 4, The Adventures of David the Garden Gnome. This cartoon tries to have an environmental message behind it, but it's so bad at doing it. The main problem is it doesn't really know what it's trying to say. All it's trying to say is all humans are the problem, which is the worst way you could possibly go about doing an environmental message. Maybe this cartoon is meant to be satirical. Maybe it's like the point of view from a gnome, but even then, they fail at doing parody right. And the characters are so uninteresting, too. The only real thing you can get out of the main character is that he's friends with all the animals in the forest. That's not an actual character trait. I'm guessing it was so focused on doing this environmental message that it didn't even bother adding character traits to it, the characters it came up with. And the plots are so nothing, too. The first 5 minutes is spent by showing shots of the woods and animals running around. And then we get to meet the main character, and then from then, nothing happens. It just explains what gnomes are for the next 5 minutes. I know this cartoon had nothing it wanted to do with itself, but they could have at least tried to make it slightly interesting for the 2 kids who actually watched it. Number 3, Around the World with Mr. Fogg. This cartoon tries to have a plot that carries on to the next episode, but in my opinion, it just fails at that. The whole plot of this cartoon is the tiger robs the bank, tries to travel around the world to make him look better, and everyone wants to call him out for it, but they can't, or something like that. Anything past the first 2 episodes just feel like filler episodes. The adventures don't seem interesting, and nothing happens in the episode beyond them riding on a train. This cartoon only had 1 season, probably because that's the only plot they could actually make out of it. Nothing happens in the stories, and the morals it tries to teach just seem completely wrong. It tries to say robbing the bank's fine if you go around the world. I know this cartoon tries to play it up as a joke, but in my opinion, it just fails at doing so. So it just comes off as extremely boring stories and could possibly be bad for the few 6-year-olds who care enough to watch it. Number 2, La Lunas, whatever that is supposed to mean. The first thing you're going to notice about this cartoon is it starts off with some of the worst looking puppet animation you would ever see in your life. Maybe not the absolute worst, but it is definitely up there with some of the worsts. And for the plots, well, they have none. They just kind of do random things, and it cuts from one thing to the next so fast you think that this was written in 2 minutes. And for the voice acting, they're not voice acting. The voices sound so bad, you think the voice actors were just kind of screaming into the microphone, just hoping that they keep the kids' attention. Because with how boring and nothing the show is, it's very likely a kid would lose attention. You could tell that no planning went into this show. They just kind of threw whatever random ideas they had, and just kind of hoped that it worked, and has the absolute worst puppet animation ever. Here we go, we are finally at the worst, and the #1 worst Spanish cartoon is Clay Kids. The first thing that you'd see in this cartoon is the worst rap music maybe
That's
ever.
Carol. She's a brainy girl. She wants to erase all the pain.
This rap song they play for the theme song is so bad it has me second taking my opinion on country music. How could a song be so bad that it actually manages that? And the actual episodes, they're not much better. Let's start off with the animation. This animation far more closely resembles the kind of thing a kid would make with Play-Doh that was on sale at a Dollar Tree store. Let's talk about the characters. The two main characters of the show, they have no actual real personality, or at least no distinct traits from one another. They're both just, I find them both extremely annoying and unlikable. The only real personality they have is that they like skateboarding. That's not a personality trait, that's just kind of them doing stuff. And the other characters, they have the classic nerd and a couple other ones. They don't really do much with the whole plot. They just kind of have the two kids be annoying for the whole episode and every other episode. I mean, they try to tell a plot with they try scaring the nerd kid into doing the skateboarding tricks for them, but that's not even interesting either. For the voice acting in this show, I'm convinced I just saw a group of kids who were graffitiing on the walls in the park and just told them to just talk like they weren't being recorded, which they failed at doing. So the voices in the show, they kind of make the voices for the other shows seem almost passable.
Pues, tralala, una exclusivamente.
And for the story it's trying to give the two kids karma for bullying the nerd kid, that doesn't even work because they got injured before then. Even the story it wants to tell, it failed at. Everything about this cartoon, it just failed at doing so. It failed at being a stereotype skater show, and it failed at everything, and I consider it the #1 worst Spanish cartoon of all time. Closing thoughts, while all these cartoons may have sucked, Spain can definitely make a good cartoon when they try. And the countries may not succeed at cartoons, but they succeed at other things like building big buildings, and they can easily make a mean dish. Pretty much every country. Alright, that's it for today.